Hello, very good morning to you and welcome to the news at 7. I am Iberi Ugunna. And the headlines this morning: State Ministry of Environment begins the silting of drainage channels in Onitsha. ABGEP promises level playing ground for contenders in the 2019 general election. President Buhari appoints new chairman for FEMA. On the foreign scene this morning, perpetrators of the Novichok attack identified. And now details of the news. The federal government says its targets to recruit 6,000 personnel for the Nigerian Prison Authority in the ongoing recruitment exercise. The Minister of Interior, retired Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Dambazil, disclosed this when he visited Governor Willie Obiano at the Governor's Lodge, Amobia. Government House correspondent Kenechukwu Former filed on the report.
Lieutenant General Dambazil revealed that the recruitment initiative is part of efforts by the federal government to ensure that the Nigerian prison service meets minimum United Nations standard for the treatment and rehabilitation of prisoners, describing the inability of prisoners to appear in court to prove their cases as a major challenge. In that light, the minister revealed that the ministry has procured mobility vehicles to convey prisoners to court, while just as the federal government is working out modalities to have courts established near prisons as to save costs. On the issue of congested prisons across the country, the minister said his ministry has mapped out strategies to permanently address the anomaly, which has been approved by the Federal Executive Council and forwarded to the National Economic Council for further action. Lieutenant General Dambazil, while thanking Governor Obiano for the reception, assured that the federal government will continue to partner the state in relevant areas to meet the demands of good governance from the people.
I want to thank you very much. This event will come up tomorrow, God's willing, and we do hope that the state and the federal government will continue to partner with this.
Earlier, while speaking after a closed-door meeting with the minister, Governor Obiano explained that the minister was in the state to commission 2 erosion sites done by the federal government in Nobi and Alo, and expressed appreciation for the intervention.
Tomorrow, at Nobi and Alo, the federal government will be handing over, or rather commissioning, will be commissioning the erosion sites that they worked on for the people of Idembili South, local government. So I'm very, very happy that that has happened, and I'm happy to receive the general.
Personnel. As part of measures to ensure free flow of flood, the Anambra State Ministry of Environment, Beautification and Ecology has commenced the silting of drainages along the Enugu-Onitsha Express Road from the bridgehead Onitsha down to Upper Iweka. Staff reporter Kenechukwu Former, who monitored the exercise, reports that some traders at the Uga via Ogu Junction were seen dumping refuse into the already cleared drainages. Her reports.
The ministry were seen controlling heavy traffic in the commercial city to prevent them from bumping into the heaps of sand and debris generated from the drainages. Reacting to the exercise, Mr. Francis Nwadupe, a trader from Delta State, commended the state government for embarking on the exercise to prevent flood from overflowing the express road this rainy season, and condemned the attitude of some residents who defecate and dump refuse into drainages, while Mr. Wahib Afolabi, a park manager, called for sanction against those who turned drainages into waste bin, thereby frustrating the efforts of the state government.
It's not good, because what they are doing those is when the rainfall and the water cannot move. At least as we can do the work now, it's very good, but the water can slow down very well.
Mrs. Teresa Nwudo, a teacher, in her reaction, advised the Ministry of Environment to collaborate with leaders of markets located along the Onitsha Expressway to prevent traders and food vendors from dumping waste into the gutters, just as she advised the ministry to place big receptacle bin at Obogu Junction by the express road, where people presently dump waste along the road, which she pointed out is washed into the gutters whenever it rains. Commenting on the exercise on telephone, Mr. Victor Abua, who spoke on behalf of the Commissioner for Environment, said the exercise was geared towards opening up all drainages in Onitsha metropolis as part of efforts to safeguard the environment from adverse effects of flood. Some traders at Tioga via Owawu Junction were seen dumping refuse into the drainages already cleared. A staff of the ministry who spoke anonymously lamented the act and called for attitudinal change from the people. Ogochukwu Orano for ABS News.
And away from that, ABGA members have been urged to sustain grassroots mobilization of the electorate towards the 2019 general election. Speaking in Awka, the state chairman of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, ABGA, Anambra Obi, said the party is on course to making a clear statement by recording outstanding victory in the South and other parts of the country. We have a correspondent report.
He assured aspirants of various positions of free and fair primaries as the party would continue to set pace for others in promoting internal democracy and cohesion. Sanobat pointed out that the Supreme Court verdict that upheld Chief Victor Oye as the authentic national chairman of the party has put to end all necessary distractions, saying that the legal battle was a failed attempt to sow seed of discord in the party, which he noted did not affect the party in any way. Also speaking, the state vice chairman of ABGA, Anambra Central, Sir Fiofin Nnoli, observed that ABGA under Chief Oye has recorded giant strides and advancements, including unparalleled victory in the last Anambra governorship election and Anambra Central senatorial election, which he noted repositioned the party with brighter prospects. He enjoined political aspirants to uphold the spirit of sportsmanship as they approach the coming primaries of the party across the country, as many states and constituencies are now yearning for ABGA leadership because of the good governance entrenched by ABGA government in Anambra State, urging the party members to remain committed to achieving the set goals.
Well, moving on, the management and staff of the newly birthed radio station in the state, Wazobia FM, has paid a courtesy call on the Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Mr. Sidon Adenoba. Correspondent Kenneth Chukwudi was at the visit and reports that they were taxed on professionalism.
Head of Broadcast and Operations of the new radio station, Mr. Ugo Enwereji, who led the team on the visit, said he decided to have a foothold in the state and in the southeast, given that Anambra is the commercial nerve center of the southeast, especially Onitsha, where the radio station is domiciled. Mr. Enwereji, who pointed that the radio station, which operates on the frequency of 93.7, will help tell the story of Anambra State and that of the southeast to the world, for a lot is happening in the state in terms of infrastructure and security, but still underreported.
And produce our services and want to protect personal
Welcoming the Wazobia team, the Commissioner, Mr. Sidon Adenoba, noted that they would be the 21st radio station to operate in the state in the last couple of years, which goes a long way to talk about the peaceful and investment-friendly nature of the state, which the governor has strived to put in place. He enumerated the achievements of the Obiano-led government, especially in terms of security and healthy business environment for investors.
You are the 21st radio station in Anambra State currently. A few years ago, there used to be only 3 or 4. So in 3 years, the number has skyrocketed. It simply means one thing: growing investor confidence in our states. People are coming in. People know Anambra State is the fast developing state in Nigeria after Lagos. And at the rate we are progressing, I think we're going to give Lagos a good run for the money.
The visit also featured presentation of souvenirs to the Commissioner. From the Jerome Udoji Secretariat in Awka, it's been Kenechukwu Chukwudi for ABS News.
Muhammadu Buhari has appointed a former deputy governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Tunde Lemon, as chairman of the Federal Emergency Road Maintenance Agency. President Buhari also appointed a new managing director and 6 members of the board of FEMA. President of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, read a letter from President Muhammadu Buhari at the plenary on Thursday in which he sought legislative approval for the appointments. Meanwhile, reports say plenary became rowdy for about 30 minutes after its president, Bukola Saraki, read the letter from President Muhammadu Buhari seeking legislative confirmation of appointments into the board of the Federal Emergency Road Maintenance Agency. Deputy President of the Senate, Ike Ekweremadu, raised the point on the order to protest against non-compliance by the president with his appointment of heads of federal government departments, agencies and parastatals, saying that the recent appointments made by the president and for which he sought legislative approval showed that the nominees were drawn from a particular part of the country. The majority leader, Ahmad Lawan, however, argued that the appointments were balanced. If you look at the larger picture, Saraki pointed out that the Senate would not act on sentiment and opinion, ruling that the Committee on Federal Character investigates Buhari's appointment and presents a report to the chamber on Tuesday. The chamber, however, became noisy as the lawmakers shouted yes and no. Apart from Ekweremadu, 3 other lawmakers from the Southeast successively raised points of order to ask the chamber to suspend further consideration and screening of nominees pending the presentation and adoption of the report by the Committee on Federal Character. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has alerted members of the public that ongoing continuous voter registration (CVR) exercise will be suspended on August 17. Head Voter Education and Publicity in the Commission in Anambra State, Mr. Liu Nkemdefe, in a statement said that the exercise would also be suspended in all the 21 local government areas of the state. For details, over now to studios.
He said the suspension was to enable the Commission have enough time to process the register and produce permanent voters' cards before the 2019 general election. Mr. Nkedefe, who explained that the exercise will continue after the general election, noted that the collection of permanent voters' cards would continue until February 8. Mr. Nkedefe appealed to all citizens who are yet to register or have lost their cards to avail themselves of another opportunity to register. The publicity head urged those that want to transfer their PVC from one location to another, or those whose PVC is defaced, to use the opportunity to update them now that the exercise is ongoing. He commended Anambra for their cooperation, just as he cautioned against double registration or use of fake PVCs during the election, and cautioned the electorate, especially youth, not to allow themselves to be used for election malpractice.
Moving on to the foreign scene now, the police is believed to have identified the suspected perpetrators of the Novichok attack on a Russian ex-spy and his daughter in Salisbury in March, according to reports. The press association says several Russians were involved in the attempted murder of Sergei and Yulia Kripal. They are thought to have been identified through CCTV cross-check with border entry data. Earlier this month, Dawn Stoches, 44, died after being poisoned by Novichok. She and her partner, Charlie Rowley, 45, fell ill on 30th June in Amesbury with Cher. He remains seriously ill in hospital. Police believe the incidents are linked. The UK government has blamed Russia, but the country's authorities deny any involvement. The inquest into the death of Dawn Stoches opened on Thursday. Counter-terrorism detectives have revealed they found a small bottle containing Novichok at Mr. Rowley's home in Mogulton Road, Amesbury. They are trying to establish whether the container, thought to be a bottle of perfume, originated from and how Mr. Rowley and Ms. Stoches first encountered it. And that's it on ABS Television News at 7. But remember that you can listen to news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by logging on to our website, www.absradiotv.com. Like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/ABS Radio Television. And you can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. And just before we go this morning, a quick reminder of our major stories. State Ministry of Environment has begun the silting of drainage channels in Onitsha. ABGA promises level playing ground for contenders in the 2019 general election. President Buhari has appointed a new chairman for FEMA. And on the foreign scene, perpetrators of the Novichok attack have been identified. And that's it on ABS Television News at 7. Do stand by as Good Morning Anambra continue. I am Ebere Ugunna.